Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. It was an afternoon like any other. The sun was gently slipping behind the shutters, casting golden rays on the polished parquet floor of the house. 17-year-old Emma thought her mother wouldn't be home until evening. Free from any supervision, she turned on some music and let herself be carried away by her impromptu dance in the living room. But what Emma didn't know was that her mother, Claire, had changed her plans. A cancelled meeting, a faster commute, she was home early, just in time to surprise her daughter. When she entered, Claire expected to find her daughter immersed in her homework or on the phone, as usual. But what she saw made her breath catch. Emma wasn't just dancing, she was transforming the living room into a stage, moving with a grace and intensity that revealed a raw, almost unreal passion. Her gestures told a story, her eyes shone with emotion, and every step seemed to defy gravity. For a moment, Claire stood frozen, overwhelmed by the beauty and power of this expression, something she had never seen before. That moment changed everything. She understood that her daughter was not just a teenager, but a budding artist, and that she had to support her at all costs. Emma, oblivious to her mother's observation, continued her dance, each move more daring than the last, until their eyes met. It was a mixture of surprise, pride, and silent complicity. That day, the house was no longer simply a place to live, it had become the scene of a revelation that would forever transform their relationship. Emma was panting slightly, her hands still trembling from the last movement of her dance. She had never felt so free, so alive. The music had stopped a few seconds earlier, but she could still feel the rhythm in her veins. It was then that she heard a faint noise behind her, the click of the front door. She whipped around and saw her mother, Claire, standing in the doorway, her eyes wide. Emma felt her chest tighten, embarrassed, thinking she'd been caught doing something ridiculous. "Emma," Claire murmured, unable to say anything else. Her gaze wasn't that of an angry or disappointed mother, but of a person completely stunned. Every movement of her daughter had just revealed a talent she had never suspected. "Mom. I thought you were coming home late." Emma stammered, blushing. Claire moved forward slowly, her eyes never leaving her daughter's. She sat down on the sofa, unable to look away. "Emma, why have you never shown me this?" she asked, her voice trembling with emotion. Emma looked down, ashamed. I didn't know if I was good enough." But Claire shook her head forcefully. "It's not a question of being good or bad. You have a gift, and I never realized how incredible you were." For the first time in a long time, Emma felt a surge of pride and confidence wash over her. Her mother's words resonated with her like a promise. She was no longer alone in carrying this dream. That day, in that light-filled living room, a new bond was established between mother and daughter, and an idea began to germinate in Emma's mind. What if this talent, hidden forever, could really change her life? The next morning, Emma woke up with renewed energy. Her mother's words were still swirling around in her head, giving her a courage she'd never felt before. She decided to practice her dance in the living room before leaving for school, as if every movement could confirm her own confidence. As she performed pirouettes and jumps with near-perfect fluidity, she heard a noise outside the window. A neighbor was watching her. Emma, surprised and embarrassed, stopped in her tracks. The young man, a local art student, had clearly been drawn to her performance. "Wow," he murmured, knocking softly on the door. I didn't know you danced like that." Emma blushed and stepped back, confused. She wasn't used to being stared at, let alone complimented. Thank you," she stammered, not knowing what to say. Claire, who had just entered the room to prepare breakfast, smiled. "I told you. She's got real talent." The neighbor, Mark, seemed hesitant, but his eyes shone with enthusiasm. "You should really show this somewhere, a show, a competition, anything. You're amazing." Emma shook her head, shy but intrigued. "I don't know. I never thought about that." Claire placed a hand on his shoulder. Sometimes, all it takes is one person believing in you for everything to start changing. That day, Emma realized her talent could no longer remain hidden. She had to face her fear of judgment and dare to show what she could do. But she didn't yet know that this decision would lead her into a life-changing adventure, filled with jealousies, competition, and unexpected encounters. And somewhere in the neighborhood, Mark already had an idea. He wanted to help Emma perform in public, and maybe push her toward a future she never imagined. A few days later, Emma finally accepted Mark's invitation to perform in a small local show at a local cafe. Her hands were shaking with excitement and nervousness at the same time. She had never danced in front of strangers. "Breathe, Emma," Claire murmured, giving her a final, comforting pat on the shoulder. "This isn't an exam. Just you, the music, and your talent." Emma nodded and stepped onto the small stage, her heart pounding. The first notes of music rang out, and she let herself be carried away, gradually forgetting the audience. Every step, every pirouette seemed to tell a story, that of her fears, her dreams, her determination. At first, a few murmurs rippled through the audience, then a respectful silence fell. Emma felt her body express what her words could not. She danced with an intensity that captivated everyone's gaze. But just as she was about to make her final leap, an unexpected incident occurred. The slightly slippery stage caused her to stumble. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. The spectators held their breath. Emma felt panic rising, but she caught herself at the last moment, transforming her fall into an improvised move that made the dance even more spectacular. Applause erupted instantly, louder than anything she had imagined. "That was incredible," shouted someone from the audience. "You were born to dance." Claire, her eyes shining with pride, knew that this moment marked the beginning of a new chapter in Emma's life. But in the shadows, whispers of jealousy and competition were already beginning to form. Not everyone was ready to welcome her talent with such admiration. That evening, Emma returned home upset but happy. She had just taken the first step, but the road ahead would be far from easy, and the challenges ahead would test not only her talent, but also her courage and determination. A few days after her performance, Emma began to feel more confident. Her talent had spread throughout the neighborhood, and many neighbors and friends from school came to congratulate her. But with the recognition also came jealousy. During a dance class at school, Emma was surprised by the cold stares of some of her classmates. Sarah, a very popular student and experienced dancer, approached her with a calculated smile. "So, you're the new star of the neighborhood, huh?" she said in a falsely sweet voice. Yes, well. Emma stammered, uncomfortably. Sarah chuckled softly. "You should know that this kind of success attracts attention, but not always the right kind. Some people here think you don't belong among us." Emma felt her heart sink. She had never sought out competition, but it seemed that competition had found her. Mark, who had accompanied her that day, stepped in to defend her. "Emma has talent, and that's all that matters. Leave her alone." But Sarah wasn't intimidated. Talent has to be proven, not just with one impromptu dance. If you really want to play in the big leagues, be prepared to fight. This confrontation, though brief, left its mark on Emma. For the first time, she understood that her path to success would not only be filled with compliments and admiration, but also with challenges, rivalries, and jealousy. Back home, Claire hugged her. "Don't let anyone make you doubt yourself, Emma. You have a gift, and you have to defend it." Emma nodded, determined. She knew she would have to work harder, train longer, and most importantly, learn how to deal with those who wanted to bring her down. That day marked the beginning of a new chapter, one in which Emma would discover not only her potential, but also the strength it took to survive the jealousy and obstacles that would stand in her way. A few weeks later, Emma received an unexpected invitation to participate in a regional dance competition for young talent. Heart-pounding, she showed the letter to her mother. "Mom, do you think I should go?" she asked nervously. "Emma, that's exactly what you need to do. Your talent deserves to be seen by more people. And I'll be there to support you, as always." On the day of the competition, Emma entered the main hall, where a noisy and eager crowd awaited her. The other participants all seemed experienced, some sporting elaborate costumes and perfectly choreographed routines. Nervousness rose within her, but Claire squeezed her hand and whispered, "Remember why you're dancing. For yourself, for your heart." When her music began, Emma forgot everything: the audience, the competition, the critical eyes. Her movements were precise, powerful, and filled with emotion. Every pirouette and jump told a story the judges couldn't ignore. At the end of her performance, a heavy silence fell over the room, followed by thunderous applause. The judges exchanged surprised and impressed glances. Emma, still panting, felt a wave of pride wash over her. "Unbelievable," whispered Mark, who had come to support her. "You conquered the stage, Emma," Claire added, tears in her eyes. But this success also attracted envious glances. Sarah, present in the audience with her classmates, shuddered with jealousy. She understood that the simple young girl she considered a minor rival had just gained a head start in the competition. Despite the looming tension, Emma felt invincible. She had just made her first real breakthrough and understood that her dream of dancing on the big stage could become a reality, if she was willing to work even harder and overcome the obstacles that lay ahead. That day marked a turning point. Emma was no longer just a girl dancing in her living room. She had become a dancer capable of captivating audiences and competing with the best. After her brilliant performance at the regional competition, Emma felt confident, almost invincible. But the reality of the dance world quickly began to catch up with her. A few days later, she received an invitation to a much more prestigious national competition. Enthusiastic, she threw herself into rehearsals, determined to impress the judges once again. But the more she trained, the more she realized the competition would be ruthless. The other participants were not only technically perfect, but some had years of experience she lacked. The pressure mounted, and for the first time, Emma felt doubt creeping into her mind. The day of the national competition arrived. Emma took the stage in her flamboyant costume and her heart pounding, ready to show off everything she had learned. But within the first few seconds, a technical glitch occurred. The music froze, creating an awkward silence and interrupting her perfectly rehearsed choreography. Emma tried to adjust, but stress and surprise caused her to stumble in the middle of a crucial move. The audience murmured, and the judges frowned. Emma finished her dance, but it wasn't the exceptional performance she had imagined. After the competition, she sat backstage with tears in her eyes, ashamed and frustrated. Claire approached, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Emma, this isn't a defeat. It's a lesson. Even the best fall sometimes. What matters is what you do afterward." Mark, also present, nodded, "Exactly. You showed your courage by going on stage despite everything. Next time, you'll be even stronger." This failure, though painful, became a turning point for Emma. She understood that success was not only a matter of talent, but also of perseverance, resilience, and the ability to learn from mistakes. And as she left the room that evening, a new determination shone in her eyes. She would come back, better and stronger than ever. A few weeks after her failure at the national competition, Emma continued to train with more determination than ever. Every morning, she rehearsed her movements in front of the mirror, correcting every detail, perfecting every move. Claire and Mark were still there to support her, but this time, Emma knew she had to fight alone to get noticed. One afternoon, while she was dancing in the neighborhood park, an elegant woman approached her, notebook in hand. She introduced herself as Mrs. Linton, artistic director of a renowned dance school in the city. "I saw your performance at the national competition," she said with a smile. "Even though everything didn't go as planned, your talent is undeniable. I'd like to offer you a special mentoring and intensive training program. With this, you could reach a professional level." Emma felt her heart race. This was exactly what she'd always dreamed of, but she didn't dare believe it. Me, really?" she stammered. "Yes," Mrs. Linton confirmed. "But it will take hard work. The road won't be easy, and you'll have to prove that you're ready to devote yourself entirely to your passion." Claire, who had been watching from a distance, proudly squeezed Emma's hand. "This is your moment, darling. Don't hesitate." Emma accepted, knowing that this opportunity could transform her life. She knew she had just reached a new milestone, from talented neighborhood dancer to promising student in a demanding professional environment. But little did she know that this mentorship would reveal not only her strengths, but also her weaknesses, and that she would have to face rivalries and choices that would test her courage and determination like never before. That night, Emma fell asleep with a smile, excited and slightly anxious. A new adventure had just begun, and she was ready to dance like never before. Emma's first few weeks in the mentorship program were a shock. The dance school was filled with young prodigies from all over the country. Some were arrogant, others fiercely competitive, and all seemed desperate to stand out. From the very first day, Emma realized the competition would be fierce. A student named Isabella, known for her perfect technique and haughty attitude, looked at her with a condescending smile. "Oh, you're the little star of the neighborhood competition, aren't you?" Isabella laughed. "You'll see, here, it's not enough to dance with your heart. Technique, precision, and discipline are what count." Emma felt a pang of fear, but also a surge of determination. She knew she had to prove she belonged here, even if some tried to discourage her. During class, the teachers were demanding. Every movement was corrected, every gesture analyzed. Emma stumbled several times, but with each mistake, she got back up with more strength and concentration. Her progress was rapid but visible, and some classmates began to recognize her raw talent and creativity. However, Isabella soon sabotaged her efforts. She spread rumors, criticized Emma in front of the teachers, and tried to unsettle her during rehearsals. Emma had to learn to stay calm, channel her frustration, and use every obstacle to improve herself. "Don't be intimidated by others," Mrs. Linton advised him during a private session. "True strength comes not only from technique, but from your ability to keep your mind clear and your heart open." Emma realized that these challenges were not just dance tests, but also life lessons. She had to not only perfect her art, but also strengthen her self-confidence and resilience in the face of rivalries. At the end of the day, as she left the training room, Emma felt a new flame burning within her. She now knew that success wasn't just about talent, it also required strategy, courage, and determination. A few months after entering the dance school, Emma received an announcement that a major internal competition would be held for all students. The winner would have the chance to participate in a prestigious show in the city, an opportunity that could launch her career. Emma felt her heart race. This was her chance to show everyone what she was made of, but she knew the pressure would be immense. Isabella, of course, was among the toughest competitors. On the day of the competition, the room was filled with parents, teachers, and other students. Emma took the stage, breathing deeply. The music started, and she let herself be carried away by her emotions, her movements more precise and expressive than ever. Each gesture told the story of her journey, her mistakes, her failures, but also her perseverance and her passion. Everything seemed perfect, until an unexpected problem arose. Part of her costume tore, disrupting her balance and jeopardizing her choreography. A murmur of concern rippled through the room. Emma felt panic rising, but instead of stopping, she improvised creatively, transforming the flaw into a unique move. The audience was captivated by her audacity, and the judges exchanged impressed glances. At the end of her performance, applause erupted. Emma stepped off the stage, breathless but with a smile on her face. She had overcome her greatest challenge yet. "That was incredible," said Mrs. Linton, hugging her. "You turned an obstacle into an opportunity. That's what it means to be a real dancer." Isabella, for her part, remained frustrated, aware that Emma had just proven that she was not simply a promising student, she was a true artist capable of shining even in adversity. This victory, even though it wasn't yet official, gave Emma the confidence to prepare for even greater challenges. She knew now that the road would be strewn with obstacles, but she was ready to face anything to achieve her dream. A few weeks after the internal competition, Emma received unexpected news. She had been selected to participate in a major national dance show, bringing together the country's most promising talents. Her heart was pounding, a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "Mom! I can't believe it," she whispered to Claire, her eyes shining. "Emma, look how far you've come," Claire replied, hugging her. "You've worked hard, overcome obstacles, and now everyone is going to see your talent." On the day of the show, the stage was immense and the audience gigantic. The spotlights illuminated Emma as she entered, and for a moment, she felt the weight of anxiety, all those stares, all those expectations, and above all, the fear of not being good enough. But from the first notes of the music, she let her body speak. Every step, every pirouette, every movement was precise, passionate, and charged with emotion. The audience was captivated, and the judges visibly impressed. Halfway through the performance, Emma performed the final jump she had always imagined. There was silence for a moment, then a thunderous ovation. With tears in her eyes, Emma knew she had won over the audience. After the show, Mrs. Linton approached with a radiant smile. "Emma, you're no longer just a promising student, you're now an accomplished dancer. Keep it up, and your future will be extraordinary." Even Isabella, who came to congratulate her despite their past rivalry, admitted, "You deserved this victory. You worked hard and you shone." That evening, Emma returned home, exhausted but happy, accompanied by her mother. She understood that her dream was no longer just a distant hope, it had become a reality thanks to her talent, her perseverance, and the unwavering support of those who believed in her. In the silence of the living room, Emma and Claire sat side by side, holding hands. Emma smiled and whispered, "Thank you, Mom, for everything." "No, darling, thank you for never giving up." And in that moment, all the trials, failures, rivalries, and moments of doubt had turned into a resounding victory. Emma knew this was just the beginning of an extraordinary career, and that she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.